What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. It is March. St. Patrick's Day just passed. We're in the 6th episode of the year, ladies and gentlemen. This episode is coming to you live from an undisclosed location that we will never give out, but you're going to have to stay tuned and enjoy the ambiance behind us. I've got my brother from another mother, Trevor. Thank you so much for being here, brother.
Glad to be back. Always glad to be here, man.
Looks like you got a fresh cut as well, brother. I gotta say.
I did.
How old are you?
I don't think it really matters, but 32.
32. Okay, so I just turned 32 in January myself, and you can tell right here I got the grays coming through.
Oh, I got the grays.
You can't see with a fresh taper.
That's the whole
at all. Very cheeky. I love it.
Try to keep it on the DL. You know?
For any women out there, I got a question. Is just a touch of gray still acceptable, or do we like our diet, make it look nice and youthful?
Silver Fox, man.
So
Silver Fox look.
This episode, by the way, is sponsored by Green Bay Axe Throwing and Escape Room, literally an axe throw away from Packer Stadium, aka Lambeau Field, right there in historic downtown Green Bay. This episode is also sponsored by Green Bay Indoor Golf, Heights Pub and Parlor, the National Railroad Museum, 920 Print Shop, and Prohibition9.com. Should be a link below, by the way. If you're still looking at this vest that Trevor and I are rocking, there should be a link below and or in the description by the end of this video to where you can get a hold of some of the best vests you've ever laid your fingers on and ever put that cozy torso of yours in.
And some custom options coming soon.
Custom options.
Yep. So be on the lookout for those. And then something I just wanted to give a little shout out to, because we are prepping for it and we are planning for it, is the golf outing that we are doing. We're on to our second annual one. Is going to be June 23rd at Brown County Golf Course. Boom. Green gives back. Right now, we do have some openings for teams. You can check that out on our website to join or to schedule being at the golf outing. But if you know anybody who's a golf fan and would be interested, send them our way.
And also, 420 happens to be in about 31 days. Praise them and blaze them this year. 420 and Easter happen to coincide. Whether you support the holiday or not, or you're just a fan of the brand or some of the best high quality H2O. No, I just wanted to say that high quality cannabis you can get. The dispensary will be open. So don't fret there. Definitely enjoy your morning, enjoy your time. And if you don't participate, then at least the sponsor will still be open for you. I do believe that every store, courtesy of the sponsor, it gave us this little sneak peek of anybody that goes in on 420 or that weekend of, you will have a chance to win this golden ticket. And you can only guess what that means, folks. Big ass prizes are on the way to you if you pull that golden ticket, just like this. Oh, wow. Thank you for my order. I bought a cool beverage on Easter Sunday. I'm going to go home and enjoy it. Holy shit, I got a gold ticket. What's that mean, bud tender? Well, you will be contacted and you will be awarded, is all that means. Trevor, I think we're doing something a little bit different to start this episode.
We are. I'm actually pretty stoked. We've talked about doing it for a while, bringing a little bit of a game to all the viewers out there just to get some interaction, but then also to have a little bit of fun with our supporters. So what we're doing today is we actually got a game. It's a trivia game called Stoner Trivia Race to 420. And what it is it's just a bunch of cannabis related questions. And we would like to pose 4 questions to our viewers. We're going to give you all 20 seconds after each question to give us a correct answer. The first correct answer is going to win a $25 gift card. And if you are the first person to correct answer and we call you out, send us a DM because then we will reach out to you and get that all taken care of. But like I said, we're going to read 4 questions. We're going to bounce back and forth. If you know the answer, shoot it in the comments. We're going to be watching for the first correct answer of the day, and then we will shout it out as it happens. So the first question that we're going to start with is going to be, which Saturday Night Live alumni was busted trying to smuggle 9 pounds of marijuana through O'Hare Airport?
Sheesh.
Time is starting. So if you know the answer to that, throw it in the comments.
20 seconds. So I'm looking at the comments right now. I'm seeing the most recent comment from Kelly Hoffman with some hearts. Shout out Kelly. She's one of our main staple listeners. Love you, Bean. Timbo Slice, I appreciate you being in the comments early before the video even started today, brother. And that's 20 seconds.
So first question I saw no answers on. The answer to that one would actually be Bill Murray.
Bill Murray, the GOAT.
Bill Murray.
Oh my gosh, my girlfriend's a big fan of Woody Harrelson and Bill Murray. Woody
Good
Harrelson.
picks. I would say
Oh
good
my
picks.
gosh, just bros. Let's get some interaction going. Oh, Timbo answered.
So Timbo, I saw you answer Chris Farley. We're looking for the first correct answer.
The first
the
correct
correct
answer.
answer would have been Bill Murray.
Well done. You got another shot, everybody. You got another shot. Oh, let me do it then. Here we go. What's the name of the marijuana delivery service in the movie Half Baked, featuring Dave Chappelle back when he was just a jit, just a youngin'?
And
what was the name of the marijuana delivery service in the movie Half Baked?
Time is a go.
Let's
see.
Spit some bars while we're waiting.
And Timbo over here sharing his birthday with Bill Murray.
No.
That's a good one, yeah.
What an amazing fact. Hashtag stat that. That's 20 seconds, ladies and gentlemen.
Boom.
And the answer that we've all been waiting for over the course of the past 20 plus seconds from the name of the marijuana delivery service in the movie Half Baked.
We do.
Mr. Happy. Oh, you're so freaking close. It is actually Mr. Nice Guy. Shout out the
close.
Walmart sticker that was the little happy face that they would put on their little baggies in the movie Half Baked, featuring one of the greatest comics of all time, Dave Chappelle.
I do have to say this, Timbo Slice. You should probably check that movie out. Highly recommend.
Oh, if you're any sort of affiliated with the cannabis industry, even as a consumer,
gotta go check out Half Baked.
Half Baked, bro. You're not necessarily missing on too much, but you are missing out.
Agreed. All right. So, third question is going to be, this Philadelphia 76ers star was busted with weed in 1997. Who was it?
A Philadelphia 76er was
Philadelphia
busted
76er.
with some weed in 1997? What were you doing in 1997? Put in the comments right now. I'll read it. I see Bill Hederscheid in here. I appreciate you joining. Papa Hederscheid, all the way from Virginia. I appreciate you, brother. Kelly Matthews. Hi, guys, from Green Bay East. Thank you for being in the comments, Kelly. And thank you for your service to the best in the business.
And boom, time is up. So, this Philadelphia 76er star was busted with some weed in 1997, and that 76er was Allen Iverson.
Only the coolest dude to ever wear
Timbo
braids.
coming in right at the end.
Oh, though Timbo did make it at the end.
So did Bill.
So did Bill. Bill Hederscheid actually beat Timbo in the comments. Let's go. We have our first. Is that our first winner or second winner?
That's our first technical one.
We have a technicality. That's a first win right there, Bill. Hey, Tim, well done.
Tim, you're a split second behind. Let's see if you can get the last question.
Split second behind. All right, buckle in, folks. Last one of this episode here in March. We'll see you back in April, the week before 420. What sneaker company created an all hemp sneaker? Hurry up and Google it. You have 20 seconds. Allen Iverson, man. I remember all the controversy with him. That was amazing. What sneaker company created an all hemp sneaker? Let me know right now. You literally have 5 more seconds.
Yep. 5 seconds counting down now. And time is up.
Okay, we got one submission right there at the last second. Appreciate you getting that in. We have Nike, we have Sivas, and both happen to be absolutely wrong.
Third answer was correct.
Third answer was absolutely right. Thank you for participating there, Timbo. Adidas, they made an all hemp sneaker, and I think that's a pretty cool concept depending on how it looked, because obviously you don't see that every day.
Maybe we'll have to drop a picture on one of our future podcasts just to tie it back.
Yeah, that's a really good point. But now that we're done with the fun and games, folks, want to go ahead and get things going to what we all came here for, and that's the news in the greatest industry on earth. The industry that combats big pharma, that combats the wrong stigma, if you will, when it comes to wellness. We're going to jump right into an article that Trevor and I found about the medical cannabis and the opiate crisis, courtesy of USA Today. Don't judge too hard on the source. All right, we're talking cannabis, not politics. You know what I mean? One study found that patients. You go ahead.
No, after you.
One study found that patients using medical cannabis had a 2.6 higher chance of experiencing pain relief. Opiate users prescribed medical cannabis reduced their usage by 39% over 6 months.
Yeah. No, that's actually what I was going to make a point about right away, was those two statistics, the 2.6% or 2.6 times higher chance of experiencing pain relief, and the fact that once they have been prescribed the medical cannabis, they've seen reduced their dosages for opiates by 39% over 6 months. Incredible. And especially when you even tie back to states where medical cannabis has been implemented, the opiate prescriptions have dropped by 5.88%, with a 21% reduction in mortality rates due to that have come from synthetic opiates. So when you're looking at something so natural and organic, and the fact that now there is starting to become legalization in it around the country, and you're starting to be able to do the research into it to even compare it to current options that are out there like opiates. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I'm sure most people know people who have been on opiates at one point or will be on them in the future due to surgeries or ailments or anything of that type. So myself being me, when I see something like that, I want something organic, natural, and not necessarily man-made that has a lot of the fallout or, bad ramifications that can come from the opiate side of things. So to see them now starting to legalize it across the country and to put the research into how it is actually affecting the opiate industry or situation in itself is just on point.
Absolutely. And opiates do have a rightful place in medicine.
Yeah.
As everybody in the comments would absolutely agree, you're not gonna heal, or not necessarily heal. You're not gonna treat a broken bone with aspirin unless you're really hard against big prescription drugs. But I will say the culture that we've grown up in, essentially, and shout out to anybody else that's alive in the YouTube comments or Facebook comments. We've all grown up in a culture to where if you got a boo-boo or a scrape that is pretty gnarly, you're going to get handed a pill, probably from mom and dad immediately. And not saying that cannabis is for kids at all, but I will say that there are studies out there that say that CBD, a non-psychoactive cannabinoid, can actually be very beneficial when treating nausea, pain, sleep problems, even in children. And it would behoove us as a society to reach for an alternative plant as opposed to that opiate big pharma agenda.
Well, I mean, even based off what you just said, when I look at the comments going on in for the podcast right now, Timbo Slice, who, shout out again for how active you've been in there, but they made a point. Fun fact that Timbo Slice has tried several different medications for neuropathy in his legs. Neuropathy. Nothing has helped until he used CBD topical. So in that sense, like, yeah, there are all the pills and there are all the options. He even said it in there, how much better cannabis is in such minor quantities compared to how many cocktails pharma will
100%. Yes.
So like when you're talking about cocktails and how many, or the regimen, like I think of the people I know in my life who have, hey, take these 6 pills in the morning, take these 6 to 8 pills at night, and you're good. That's a lot. That's a lot going on with your body, of changing of chemistry, of introducing chemicals to your body.
It's your kidney, it's your liver, especially if you're not hydrating enough. And let's say you're sick. A lot of people that are sick probably don't feel like ingesting the most fluids, but yet they're handed a pill and told, hydrate properly, or don't do this with a meal. Versus with a plant, cannabis in particular, you're able to eat cannabis in the form of a gummy, and a chocolate, a cereal bar, whatever, even a tincture. And with a little bit of food on your stomach, it'll metabolize that much quicker. Now, mind you, a tincture is going to be your fastest method of delivery, bar none. But when it comes to mixing food or not having food, I don't think, but that's case by case basis with certain illnesses. And there I go again, just wandering off, man. Just wandering off. Add that to the clips right there. Shout out everybody.
Let me pull it back a little bit, because something you said actually kind of sparked a thought in my head. Even the normalization, just in general, of taking pills,
the acceptance.
Pills. Yeah, like you mentioned at one point in there, like even when you're a kid and your parents give you some kind of medicine, like that is already at its bare bones starting to normalize the process of taking the medicine. And again, you're correct. Like, I'm not saying it necessarily needs to be normalizing cannabis to young people,
right?
But where's the room for that kind of conversation, especially when you are normalizing prescription pills that are already out there. So
yeah, and with such a crisis with pills, I mean, veterans, we're a veteran sponsored program, and shout out every veteran in the comment and or watching this right now or never watching. Thank you very much for making us safe at home, whether you deployed or not. You raised your right hand, and we appreciate that big time. And veterans just so happens to be disproportionately the most affected by big pharma, in my opinion, when it comes to treating PTSD, chronic pain, and all types of physical ailments. The first thing the VA wants to give you is a narcotic and or ibuprofen 800 milligram. Shout out anybody that's taken the ibuprofen 800 milligram horse tablets for the sake of trying to feel better. That's all they would give us at sick call, unless you had something really wrong. Then they'd send you to the hospital. You go get your pharmaceuticals and all that jazz. But our veteran population dies from opiate overdoses twice as much as the general population. And between 2001 to 2017, opiate-related overdoses increased by 65%. You know what happened in 2018? The fucking farm bill dropped, and veterans started getting the wellness that they needed from a plant in which you and I happen to be the most passionate about, and that's why we're here talking about it today. And also the fact that veterans, if they have any sort of disability rights or awards from the VA, they're not allowed to consume even hemp-derived cannabis because you get a urine test still, and if you pop pot, you lose your benefits.
Yeah, it really just comes back to education for me. This is why studies need to happen. This is why research needs to happen, and comparisons need to happen, because until we start seeing these types of numbers in front of us, we can't truly start to help the groups that are most affected by, say, opiates or anything like that. We need to show the numbers and show the comparisons. And that's that one right there. Like you dropped, I think you said it was twice as likely.
No, yeah, 2 times. Yeah, it says vets are twice as likely to die from an opiate OD as the general population, brother.
Exactly. So now with research out there, if you can start researching the cannabis side of it, and that can open doors for it to be introduced to veterans or military members, that's a beautiful thing. But until you can start doing those studies, you're never going to get that.
Right.
So it's good that the research is finally opening up for it all. Yeah. So
huge crisis going on with opiates, but at the same time, there's a huge notice and drop in the opiate crisis here in America. That's the overall consensus of the article that we selected, is because of hemp, because of cannabis, less people are dying from prescription drug overdoses. And if that's not a reason enough to get behind something, then I'm not going to tell you to reevaluate, but perhaps, but switching up from a national scale to something a little bit more local.
Let's go from something serious to something a little bit more fun. I was going to ask you, but I know you have, if you've ever tried axe throwing. And I know you have, because you guys got a chance to go out to Green Bay axe throwing and escape room. So we have a little bit of footage from that we want to show all of you at home.
And we also just upgraded one of our games actually to provide a QR code where you can upload photographs, so you can throw at like your friends' faces, or really
awesome.
Any other outlandish thing that you really want to throw at. So we do occasionally, the ones that stick out in my mind is that we occasionally see divorce parties where people will come and bring a picture of their ex, and then we can throw it on the board for them to throw at.
Nice.
What a cool opportunity.
Axe throwing is fun as hell.
I love it. I've only gone a few times. I've never gone to that location, so I think I'm going to have to add it to the list. It's a fun time. If you've never done it at home, get out and do it once or twice. Even escape rooms, blast. You like a little mental challenge, a little puzzle, get out there and challenge yourself.
It is completely and utterly hard as shit, folks, to find clues in a fucking escape room. Let me tell you that right now. A few of our kids, go ahead.
Real quick shout out, if you ever do an escape room and you see any bags in the room, make sure you check the bags for clues or hints. Not that that's ever happened to me. Maybe in an escape room I've been in, like Jacob just said, hints and clues can be very tough to find.
Super tough. And if you just so happen to be coming to Green Bay for a vacation, for the draft or anything like that, Green Bay axe throw and escape room is literally an axe throw away from Lambeau Field, and it is quite a treat. They have a beer me sign in the top right hand corner, of every Target, you hit that beer me sign, you get that free tasty bevy. And I hit that some bitch. Yes, I did. Let me tell you something. I got witnesses that saw me hit it. I got 5. If you saw that clip, they all saw it and they could testify. Speaking of testifying, I want to testify that it is Women's History Month. And I want to say thank you very much for being born to every woman that is here. Without you, I don't think we can exist, to be honest. And some women that I'd really like to mention in this little segment, if you will, would be some women that have genuinely impacted not only the world, but the best industry in the world, all the way back to the 1960s and even present. I want to make sure that I got my media ready before I go on this tangent. Good to go. All right, so check it out. Today we're diving into history, challenges, and opportunities for women in cannabis. And I want to start with some pioneers who paved the way, because without you, we wouldn't be here. First, I want to recognize Miss Margaret Mead. In 1969, Miss Mead testified before Congress in favor of cannabis legalization, argued prohibition did more harm than cannabis use, and she influenced early decriminalization discussions. Should have a headshot of her. Beautiful lady. Back in 1969, I wouldn't have thought, but I'm ever grateful for her foundation laying, if that makes sense. Next up, I want to give a shout out to Miss Mary Jane Rathbun, aka Brownie Mary, somebody that I learned about very recently. In the 1980s, she illegally distributed cannabis brownies to AIDS patients in San Francisco hospitals. Arrests drew national attention to medical marijuana, and she said that she didn't care. She absolutely saw the justice in cannabis wellness, and that was all the way back in the 80s. I don't mean to say all the way back for our viewers that are born before the 80s. I apologize. Moving on next, Dr. Alan Howlett, 1988. She discovered the CB1 cannabinoid receptor in the brain, which, folks, if you don't know, I believe the CB1 receptor is responsible for your the central nervous system, in which whenever you ingest cannabis, that regulation process that can happen per your ECS, everybody has an ECS, just like everybody has an asshole. Your ECS is going to determine where that cannabis needs to go in your body per your method of ingestion. She provided scientific proof that cannabis interacts with the human body. Shout out Dr. Alan Howlett. Next up will be Miss Wanda James, the first Black woman to own a dispensary in Colorado. She advocated for social equity in cannabis, and she fought for communities affected by war on drugs. Everybody knows that the war on drugs was a spoof thing to a degree. The real enemy has always been the folks that have the biggest dollars in big pharma, in my opinion. And my opinion does not reflect the opinions of my employers by any means. So don't come for my employer. Dr. Chanda Macias, the first Black woman to be a CEO of a multi-state cannabis business, chair of Women Grow, which mentors female entrepreneurs in cannabis. Another badass paving the way for women that are going to come tomorrow, if that makes sense. Next will be Dr. Amanda Reinman. Dr. Amanda Reinman has been studying the relationship between people, cannabis, and the greater society for over 20 years. As a pioneer in the field of cannabis and social science, she was one of the first to explore the use of cannabis as a substitute for alcohol and other drugs, which is absolutely the point of it.
Yep. You
need moderation in damn near everything you do, because exercise is even in too much.
Preach.
Thank you, Dr. Amanda Reinman, for helping publish those studies saying that alcohol is indeed replaceable.
Yeah, I mean, all them being involved with the industry from, 1969 on, based off the dates of those, shows how vital women are, one, to the industry. But I think it also goes to show how maybe the industry hasn't always been completely balanced for them. Like 51% of the cannabis consumers are women. 51%. So when you look at it and you factor in the fact that women have only held about 37, not 73, totally almost flipped that, 37% of executive roles in cannabis. And that was in 2019. And in 2020, that number actually dropped to 22%. Also, something a lot of people don't think about, and I will say I'm guilty of this, is when you look at starting up of the business, right? Most times you're going to have to get some kind of funding for that. So when you look at the cannabis industry, venture capital funding is a major barrier right now for women trying to get into the industry and start stuff up in the industry, because right now, only about 2.3% of VC funding goes to women-led startups. So with Jacob, with everything you just said from all those fantastic women in the industry and what they've done in it, to then see that there's still some walls up in place of it, I think it's time that those walls come down and we start opening up the game to everybody, just across the board.
And in my opinion, it's probably just a matter of time with women dominating the consumer market and the whole 51%. That just means that over time, with them consuming the most, they'll be able to give the most critiques and the most reviews, if you will, on products. And it goes to show that this industry, it breaks barriers.
It does.
Absolutely breaks barriers. And I'm very thankful for it. There's a few more leaders that are pushing boundaries, innovating, and leading the future of cannabis. I did not prep my producer with those names, but I'm just going to spew off a few for the sake of it. Solange Burnett, a vocal advocate for cannabis justice, pushing policies that address racial and social inequalities in legislation. Miss Summer Frine focuses on making CBD wellness products more transparent and accessible to everyday consumers, because at the end of the day, affordability is the best medicine. I think insulin prices are at an all-time high right now, and I could not imagine being type 1 or type 2 and being dependent on it for the sake of how fucking expensive insulin is. It is ridiculous, and your body needs it. Miss Needy Lucky Handa, I apologize for absolutely butchering her name, but uses her platform to challenge the lack of diversity in cannabis and create a brand that reflects a wider audience. Hence, what the last point you just made, Trev. Appreciate that. And those were just some names that I wanted to finish up shouting out in our Women's History Month, and those that have genuinely paved the way for even as guys, us to be here doing what we're doing today,
100%.
preaching a good word.
And I think what else is important is, one, to highlight the women that have made impactful moments in the industry, but also to show how the industry is important to women.
Correct.
From our side, and we've talked about this recently. But
just last month, as a matter of fact,
exactly.
with the feature with Dr. Ryman, and she spoke about menopause,
exactly,
and how everybody's body transitions over time, and how you use cannabis early in life, and that relationship changes over time, and cannabis can become less effective for you over time too.
100%, and that's just like one spot where science is starting to catch up and recognize the unique ways that cannabis can interact with women's health. Like, you've got hormonal impacts. So studies suggest that estrogen levels may affect how THC is processed, meaning women may experience stronger effects at certain times in their cycle.
That would make sense. That would make a lot of sense.
It would. Pain management. Women are more likely than men to use cannabis for pain relief with conditions that come during their cycle or outside of it. Makes sense. Pain relief, we talked about that already tonight earlier in the podcast. Ties right back to that. Mental health and anxiety, CBD for maternal health, the menopause side of things.
Yeah,
those are all topics that go hand in hand with women and show why the industry is so important for them and why it's important for everybody as a whole to continue education and learning about the industry.
I know we are not women, so we can't speak for the direct results. However, we did have somebody on the program that was pretty upper echelon in the knowledge department. And if Dr. Ryman says that cannabis can help, you best listen. She's 20 years into the game, 20 years plus into the game.
And at the end of the day, I do not feel like I need to be a woman to be an advocate for the people who are pushing the industry, making changes, and doing the good work. So on top of it being Women's History Month, it's just another opportunity for us to be able to shout out those players in the industry that are making moves and made the moves back in the day to get us to where we are now.
That's right. And it's all about helping people.
True.
At the end of the day. Just like you're helping me if you're in the comments right now on YouTube or Facebook, making my absolute day. Thank you so much for joining us. I see in the chat, right? Not necessarily in the chat, but the live audience right now is in double digits. And I can't thank you guys enough for being here. Genuinely.
So just like all the people in the comments, I'm going to use that as a little segue to transition. All of you in the comments, even Timbo Slice, who left us a little personal testimony earlier. And that's something we want to continue to highlight is the individuals who have been coming in or supporting the industry or our company and showing how this has impacted their quality of life. So just like last month, me and Jacob have pulled in a couple of testimonies that we want to kind of dive into just to give some shout outs to and let all of you hear some other people's stories who are using these products for quality of life.
These testimonies come from all over
All
America,
over,
folks.
yep.
The hemp farm bill covers all 50 states. We're good.
So if you know anybody who wants to give us a testimony, have them contact us, have them reach out, because it's one, good for the industry and good for the community to see those testimonies, and two, it helps us give an opportunity to shout out the individuals that are coming into the stores, like Sarah Grigo. I'm from Colorado, and I asked my doctor if she thought it would be helpful with lupus. I told her I didn't want any medicine. I didn't want to get dependent on medicine because I'm also allergic to a lot of different types of medicine. They tried to give me it. I tried to move away from it, and I switched to this. It does help with pain because I'm in pain 24/7. We were talking about pain relief earlier, and that just ties it right back as a consistent feature. One individual that is using our products to help with lupus and the pain that comes with it, and is finding the relief through the products rather than just strictly prescribed medicine. Which is why I picked the second one just because I picked some shorter ones, but this one kind of goes hand in hand. And this was from Candace Rogers. I was injured at work a few years ago and needed surgery. The pain was horrible, but the awesome people who worked there, the dispensary, helped me through it all. And I love you guys for all your help. The key feature to that, again, was pain being horrible. This was something I'm sure I've talked about in the past, but if I haven't, you're going to get to hear this. When I joined our company, I joined thinking, oh, I'm going to be able to sell to stoners or kids that want to smoke and consume it on a recreational level. Wrong. I learned very quickly that most, if not a huge, just general population of the individuals that use our products are using it for pain management and a collection of other ailments. But the pain management is one that comes back day after day after day. So when I see these types of testimonies, it really helps it click even more. And that's kind of why I chose to highlight those ones.
Pain management, quality of life improvement,
Exactly.
mental clarity, you name it. All types of reasons that are that a lot of folks are unaware of. And it's heartbreaking because, like we talked about 10 minutes ago, society and culture has made it more accepting to reach for a bottle of ibuprofen or something like that, as opposed to a natural plant that probably won't have, not probably, a natural plant that will not have the same addictive and overdosing properties. You can't die off of cannabis. It's not, the receptors that in your body that process cannabis are not connected to the ones in your body that are connected to breathing. You will never overdose on cannabis. That is why. My testimony that I selected, Miss Rachel Sutton out there in Virginia. She moved to King George, Virginia. That's a small town. Let me tell you something. That is a small fucking town. About an hour 15 south of Washington, D.C. Big horse farm community out there. The Budweiser horses get dropped off there occasionally for some off-season maintenance. But Rachel Sutton, she moved to King George, Virginia from a more built-up Manassas, Virginia, and was not sure where she would go to receive the cannabis that she had grown accustomed to manage her pain and PTSD symptoms. The medical card was too expensive for her budget, and she was at a loss until she discovered the dispensary brand. The service was kind, the staff was knowledgeable, and they guided me through the options to find my best fit for what I was looking for. The personal touch was vital to my incredible experience, and it breaks my heart that there are those trying to ban such successful treatment options. And that's what it is. It's treatment. It's not an end-all, fix-all. Nope. Cannabis is absolutely something we can use to treat and improve our own wellness. And our own, and wellness covers mental, spiritual, emotional, all that. Many of us experiencing mental health issues are at a constant battle with ourselves, and cannabis has been clinically proven to successfully treat conditions like PTSD and anxiety, among many, many others. The pharmaceutical alternative for these conditions is often expensive and very long-term drug regimens. I personally much prefer cannabis to the Xanax I am so often prescribed, which has a dependency risk amongst many side effects. While cannabis is not without its own side effects, they are much less dangerous than those of similar pharmaceutical treatments. Although I've been lucky enough to receive health insurance from my employer, many out there cannot access these types of treatments due to the exorbitant cost and many barriers to access adequate health care. Shout out to anybody that's ever gone to the ER without health insurance.
Yep.
I bet that was a fun night that probably lasted to the morning. She says, we as a society have finally progressed enough to offer those of all incomes a much less risky, less dependent health treatment for so many disorders plaguing the country that those trying to ban it should really be facing a moral and ethical dilemma. In summary, the various drawbacks, side effects, and barriers to access pharmaceuticals often leave those with health conditions unable to treat themselves. But legalized cannabis offers new hope by operating outside the vice grip of big pharma. Amen to that, Rachel. She says that this treatment has revolutionized her mental health care and is doing the same for many like herself out there. And it's an important issue that should not and cannot be ignored.
Preach.
Hemp-derived cannabis, marijuana-derived cannabis, quality, where it's from, how it was made, essentially, where it was grown. So quality, you need those COAs to know it was tested and it's good for you, no pesticides. And then you need to know dosage. I don't expect you to rip a whole joint and feel like having a wonderful Sunday. I expect you to eat a quarter piece of a gummy and feel a little less inflammation and or half a gummy and go to sleep. Your method of ingestion, the method of delivery is absolutely everything. That's why we always advise low and slow. And thank you very much for those testimonials that tied directly into the reason why the industry exists in the first place. I mean, the lady I covered from 1969, bringing the pot brownies to the hospital illegally to help AIDS patients. Like, come on now. It's always been about wellness. And together, we will not necessarily defeat Big Pharma. We will defeat the stigma that Big Pharma has placed on the cannabis industry. And I appreciate you sticking with us.
Truth, I would elaborate more, but there's really nothing more I need to say on that one. Her whole testimony pretty much covered every point I would want to hear from somebody who's trying to utilize the products or trying to find quality of life improvements from the products. So at the end of the day, all I really have to say is thank you, Rachel, for writing that into us and sharing your story with us and everybody else that's watching.
Big time.
All right. So after that, you guys, I want to send us away. We have a little feature clip that we want to show and have a little discussion with.
And it would be hella cool if you gave us some feedback on it.
I've used tinctures, I've used different gummies or things like that are supposed to help with the sleep.
And have you found a dramatic improvement in your sleep and or quality of?
Yeah. In my sleep, I've noticed when my body is super stressed out and super worn out, and I need to go into deep sleep and get REM.
Gotta hit REM.
That I can get in there like nothing.
Amen. That's what it's for.
Yeah.
One of the main benefits of cannabis is sleep aid. CEO of My Team Triumph, or not CEO, executive director of My Team Triumph, Dave Konchak, not only a Wisconsin badass, but this dude does for those that can't do for themselves. If you want to see more, that was just a snippet that we provided for you in this full-length live episode. There is a whole ass interview that you can go check out with me and Dave Konchak. And it is going to cover some of the amazing things that he's doing and also the amazingness that cannabis helps him bring forth per his events, per his community outreach. And if you're ever interested in sponsoring My Team Triumph as an organization, we'll put the link in the description of this video as well, so you can get a hold of Dave Konchak and his wonderful, wonderful team of angels and captains, if you will. That is the designated personnel labels for their sponsored athletes and the athletes that compete with the captains on their back, essentially. So thank you, Dave Konchak. Thank you those for are still with us. I got some comments right here from April, not C. I don't know what that is, but I think that might have been an answer from earlier. Timbo Slice still in there. I appreciate you, buddy. We've got, oh shit, we got Gumbo and Jake in the comments. They don't recognize Trevor without your hat, though, buddy.
I know. I realize it. I'm trying not to wear the hat as much anymore on there.
You got a wonderful hairline, man. Let that flow rock.
Yeah, we do see that, Joe, with some volume issues. We are working to fix those in the future.
Type in the comments if you can. Oh,
Yep.
never mind. It was just for the video we didn't have.
Mhm.
Okay, well that's all right. We're still here. We're still here. We got another article lined up that we want to talk about real quick. It's very similar to that time Michael Phelps was caught
It is.
doing the thing.
Honestly, it's going from a local badass to another badass, which
Yeah.
is Claressa Shields. So, if you don't know who that is, it's a 2-time Olympic gold medalist and 3-time undisputed world champion, undefeated with a 16-0 record after defeating Danielle Perkins on February 2nd. She is the self-proclaimed GWOAT, greatest woman of all time. But cool little stat with that one is she is actually the only boxer in history, male or female, to hold all 4 major world boxing titles at one time. So truly world class when we're talking about athletes or boxers. But the article is all about her failing a drug test. Back on February 2nd, she failed a drug test for marijuana. And the issue with that is she is a clean athlete from her side of it. The suspected cause of this was secondhand smoke. And this is a topic that I've had with many people throughout my life about secondhand smoke, whether it's being that I have friends who have jobs that they can't pop on a drug test for, and they're worried about being in the same room. So it really brings into question is, can the secondhand smoke make you pop on a drug test? And she's very serious that she is a clean athlete and that she always has been. But with this failed test, she's actually now looking at a 90-day suspension with fines, and also, in her opinion, the biggest thing, which is the reputation damage that she can't get back. Once you put that out in the public sphere, you're virtually not going to be able to take it out of the public sphere. So now it's just about working to build her case, which as of right now, there is a stay on the case for about another month, so they can work on making their case stronger and having more between evidence and witnesses that can vouch for it. But that's in the air right now. And I think that is something that is wild because it actually happened in Michigan. And the reason I found that so fascinating is because in Michigan, you have legal cannabis, but their athletic commission has a zero tolerance when it comes to drugs and testing. That's fascinating to me. You can now go to the state, purchase, smoke, consume on your own. You can go there for a concert, for an event, a boxing match, and buy this stuff and smoke it. But the athletes who are there putting their bodies on the line, fight after fight, even with their camps and training, and with the understanding, even as we've talked about, with cannabis being so tied to pain management, it would make sense that athletes want to. But even now, when you are in a legal state with an event coming up, you can't, because they're going to have zero tolerance on it. That is a wild concept to me, that a state who is legal can have a zero tolerance athletic commission.
Yeah, I personally want to see athletes be able to use steroids. I want to see athletes be able to use cannabis in recovery, and to justify both of those wild statements, some old whites might say they are. To justify both of those statements, I would say the cannabis inflammation help, and the first thing was the first thing, and the first thing, steroids. I want to see my linebacker for my favorite team. Shout out the Panthers. I want to see my linebacker come across the middle and just decapitate a 175-pound slot wide receiver. I want to see 245 pounds of brick steroided up male just right over the middle and take someone's fucking head off. That is the football I grew up loving, and I'm ever grateful for medicine, and maybe Big Pharma would have a role if the steroids were allowed, but at the same time, some cannabis after the game. Low and slow. I mean, we're not going to help you out with a concussion, but that's my brand of football right there. Mean and strong.
I'm all with you on the cannabis side for sure. You might maybe someday.
What if Claressa was allowed to take steroids though, and boxers were allowed to just absolutely beat the shit out of each other to their maximum physical capabilities?
It'd be a whole different conversation, for sure.
It'd be a lot more entertaining sport, in my opinion.
It would. Steroids is one thing. I think cannabis is another. At the end of the day, especially when you look at the recovery properties of it.
Yes,
I think it's wild. She failed a test, then she took a urine test 6 days after the fight.
Another one,
and passed.
See, and that leads me to believe
Like-
that the THC or the cannabis that was in her system was not from direct use, if that makes sense, as you were talking about with the secondhand. Multiple fighters, including Joe Hicks, described the air in the Dawn Financial Center during that fight as big cloud of weed smoke in the arena that she
That's-
fought in. And that's more likely where she ingested it unknowingly. And in these big arenas, especially in legal towns, motherfuckers are going to have that disposable on them right there on camera. They're going to be rocking and rolling in any arena. And I remember Deion Sanders saying earlier this year that at Colorado games, or last year, Colorado games in Boulder, oh, the stands would just be reeking of cannabis, brother. And it's like, hey, there could be repercussions from this. However, the NCAA took care of that and saying that their players can use cannabis. The NFL took care of it and saying that, you no more strike, or one extra strike for cannabis, was it?
Yeah.
For the NFL?
I don't know for sure, but I believe that's the case.
Right.
And it resets quicker. if I recall.
Yes. If they do get knocked for it in the NFL.
Yep.
But Claressa Shields, when they say fight like a girl, if you have a daughter out there or even a son and you want to teach them what fight like a girl means, think Claressa Shields and don't think Taylor Swift fighting for her next breath on the stage. Claressa Shields is absolute badass and kind of a victim of circumstance here, but we did find it necessary to talk about.
On a side note, I will say Taylor Swift is a grinder, and she's out there giving 5-hour nonstop performances continuously straight through for 4 years or whatever it is. So
You're absolutely right.
I will say shout out to Taylor on that sense, because it's insanely impressive. But one last thing I just want to make a point on with this article, and then I'm good on it, is I think it really highlights the fact that there needs to be consistency that is brought through, especially between organizations that have policies around drugs or cannabis specifically, and then states where they have legality. Whether that's a conversation between the organization and state officials, whatever it might be, there should be something there to protect the athletes or the people performing in whatever it might be. That's my big takeaway that I took. Shout out to Claressa Shields, true badass of the sport.
Would love to have you on the program and talk about it, even though you're not allowed to. Would love to speak with Claressa.
So again, that is my takeaway. That's the end of that article. It's a big one. Look into it. It's a new decision will be coming in the very, very soon future.
Speaking of big ones, folks, I got a big one for you right here. I want to let you know we got a giveaway about to happen, Trevor.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
It's going to be massive. We got details on that?
We should in a second here.
Let's go. April G, way to support women. Performer. You damn right. You damn right we support women performer.
Trevor is a true Swiftie. I see that for the Dispensary Live. I am. It's impressive. Record breaking. It's setting new standards for entertainment. And again, I cannot get past the fact that she goes out there for 4 or 5 hours and just performs nonstop. It's impressive. Go perform at anywhere for half an hour and tell me how that goes.
Let me tell you something. When I was junior college walk-on quarterback at Lewisburg College in Lewisburg, North Carolina, little old small Henderson, North Carolina, your boy would put on shows at lunchtime ball. And I can tell you, I can attest that lunchtime ball turns into evening time after dinner chow ball. So I do know what it's like to perform for 5 hours, and it's fucking grueling. And I appreciate you bringing that up. Shout out T Swift. We want to interview you, girl. Bring that ass on the program.
Hit us up. We'll bring you on.
Shout out to everybody in the comments still watching. Biggest viewer count we've ever had. Thank you so much. The vests are hot, still cooking. Link will be in the description after the video.
And there are our giveaway winners.
Woo!
Got William B, Nisha W, Andy C, Jennifer N, Dan D, Brad W, Matthew K, and Lorene L.
They say it's pay to play, folks, but really
Not here.
not here. You go to any dispensary store location nationwide, shout out the sponsor. You spend $100 at any point in time during the month, you spend $200, you spend $300, you're going to get an entry into one of the greatest giveaway segments on entertainment platforms.
And that's going to be pretty much it for you guys today.
Yeah, any questions, throw them down right now.
My biggest thing is remember we have 420 promos coming up. Stop in at our stores. Make sure you ask our bartenders about those for more details, but they are coming around. Make sure you get yourself one of the black envelopes, if we have it still right there. Make sure you get yourself one of these, and just keep an eye out for our company for other events and promotions coming on. Keep an eye out for our golf outing, our car show, all that. And if you haven't already, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And if you know anybody who might like this type of information or this type of scene, tell them to come check us out. Tell them to give us a view, or just let them know when we're on live monthly.
Cannabis drinks are new to not only the industry, but to you. And if you stop by any dispensary location, we can give you more information on it. And we can also give you the reason why and the science behind how drinking it affects you differently than smoking it and then eating it. It's very important that you understand the methods of delivery. It's also very fucking important that you understand 420 is less than 31 days away. So you stay tuned until next month when we see you back in April, about a week before the draft. Trevor and I, until next time, my guy.